Welcome everyone to this video on basic computer components. In this video we're going to discuss the various computer components. We're going to look at a block diagram of a basic computer. We're going to take a look also at the buses associated with the block diagram, and we're going to look into the CPU and its structure. In any computer system there are a couple of basic components. They consist of the CPU, which is a central processing unit, the memory, and the I/O, or the input-output. Now, those components are often shown in terms of a block diagram. That block diagram for a basic computer would look something similar to this. Here you can see that we have three components: the CPU, the memory, and the input-output. They are connected to various buses. Here the control bus, the address bus, and the data bus. And in this diagram, the actual size of the buses are represented in a number of lines. For example, here we have 3 lines in this control bus, 16 lines here in this address bus, and 8 lines in this data bus. Now that varies between computer sizes and microprocessors and microcontrollers, so that could be different, but this would be just a basic one. All right, looking at this, you can see that the bus is considered to be a collection of lines that connect the various components together. In the block diagram we saw here, we have 3 buses: the control bus, the address bus, and the data bus. The data bus, for example, is a group of wires that carries data and is called the data bus between each one of the components. The address bus is a group of lines also that carries the address that accesses the particular memory location inside of either a memory chip or an input-output block. In addition, we have the control bus, which is a group of lines that carry control signals that perform various functions throughout the computer. The components here of this system is a CPU, again the central processing unit, and that performs all of the computations. The memory, and here the program as well as data is stored in some kind of binary pattern in the memory, and the I/O, which connects the internal operations of the computer to the outside world. The CPU is the major component of the computer, and it consists of 3 major parts or components: the ALU, or arithmetic logic unit, the control and decoding unit, and internal registers. The CPU, or the ALU rather, the ALU performs various functions. It uses a logical design of and or not gates to create the actual hardware. It can add, subtract 2 binary numbers together. It could also perform, depending on the complexity of the ALU, other mathematical functions. It also performs, can have a block diagram that performs logical operations such as NAND, NOR, OR, etc. Addition and subtraction are considered the arithmetic operations. NAND and NOR are considered logical functions. So depending on the complexity of the CPU, it can be designed to perform various types of operations in both of these categories. CPU registers are used to store data that is going to be used by the CPU shortly, and they're fairly fast. These registers just store numbers and information, obviously in binary form, that is temporary, that's going to be used by the CPU and then discarded later, such as adding two numbers and creating a results. The last section there is the control unit. Control and decoding unit hardware is also made up of flip-flops and gates, ands, or, nors, those type of things, and they provide the timing and execution functions to create instructions or to perform instructions indicated by a program to the hardware. So this has been a brief introduction to basic computer components that consisted of the CPU, memory, and input-output, and then the actual arithmetic logic unit contained inside of the CPU, which in association with the control and decoding unit and the internal registers performs operations given to it by a program. This concludes the video on basic computer components.